Everyone. I want to thank you all for coming to Blessed Churches Empowerment Series. Our goal today is that we're going to look at stress and anxiety and kind of talk to a licensed therapist about how we can deal with that in our lives. So our speaker today is a wonderful friend of mine that I've known since high school. And she has known both me and Pastor. So her name is Tonia Green. She is a licensed social worker, and she practices in the field of social work since 1995, and she's been licensed since 1999. At that time, she also added in training with Behavior Health Services, and she is the co-founder of, because I know what it means.
ITAV Enterprises.
ITAV Enterprise. And in her 25 years plus experience, she has worked with community leadership from crisis nursery to grooming opportunities through teaching future professionals at St. Louis University and with the GWV Washington University School of Social Work. Her time in the community has been with People's Health Center and with DaVita Dialysis and enhancement of understanding the ability to deliver to some of our most vulnerable populations. She has also looked at synchronizing care for the mind and body in pursuit of total wellness. Tanya's latest project is currently one of a kind where she has helped since 2019 develop and launch the Kidney Wellness Group. This is just another example of her dedication to empowering and effective positive change. She is excited to continue her journey as a court speaker and facilitator, as well as a wellness coach with full circle strategy. I would like to introduce to you guys my friend, my BFF, Ty.
Wow. Y'all can pay me later for stuff about them, I'll tell y'all. So I like that. Thank you, Lisa, for actually for just having me and for doing such a great delivery on my bio. I like small groups because then we can talk and be real personable in the delivery. So in all fairness, you can go ahead and go to the start the presentation. This was a project that I worked on when COVID first started because a lot of people, had really adverse reactions to COVID, me being one of them. The insurance company started to, like Lisa said, I'm a licensed therapist, and so I have a private practice, and the insurance company started calling me and sending me patients who were really having issues. And I was like, hey, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm trying to get my own self together. Because it was a lot. It was a lot. And even my colleagues, we spent a lot of time helping each other just kind of talk through how are we gonna help the people. Because this is difficult. So this is where all this came from. And I really, how much time do I have? Okay. I don't know. I want to belabor the people. Um, but I I really want to make sure though that we'll do some information sharing, but I'm certain that you will likely not hear a whole lot of new things as it relates to stress and anxiety. But what I'm more interested in is you having the what to do's. And so I would rather make sure we spend time doing those things so that I can give them to you so that you can have them also with the hope of you sharing them with other people. And I just thought about this as I was standing here. One of the projects that I'm working on is developing a pre-screen tool for people to use in their everyday lives and more so for some professionals to be able to use. And I should have brought it here so you all can do it. So I'm going to give it to you verbally. So you're just going to have to write. You're going to write it down. But this is probably I'll say if we're building a toolbox today, this is probably a toolbox number one that you can use, because what is very key is that you be able to do self-awareness, right? Get to the place of knowing you're having some issue before you are in the issue place, right? So this is a starting point. So I want you to, on your first piece of paper, I want you to number in two columns, 1 through 4, and then 1 through 4. You got your little fancy Crayola there, thanks to your first lady. And then we're going to use a scale of 0 to 10. The 0 is going to be worst ever, and 10 is going to be best ever. This is actually whenever I do a session of any kind, I always start with this little check-in sheet. It's what I call my check-in. So I want you to, kind of feel free to take it and use it on a daily basis for you to be able to check in with yourself. So 0 to 10, 0 being worst ever, 10 being best ever. The first one is 0 to 10, how am I doing? So when you think about just in general, how are you? 0 to 10. Am I my worst ever? Am I my best ever? Or somewhere in between there? Then the second one is 0 to 10. How are things with my family? Third, 0 to 10. How are things with work, school, or both? 0 to 10. How are things overall? When you look at your entire world, whatever that consists of, the world for you, how do you feel about it? 0 to 10. All right, the next column is 0 to 10. I have what I need. We're talking basic needs: food, water, shelter, clothing, blah, 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 those things that are basic to life. We could all use a little more money, but how you feeling about what you got right now? The next one is 0 to 10. I feel safe. We're talking safe in your community, safe in your home, safe at your workplace, safe, period. When you think about safety, when you are moving about the earth, do you feel safe? 0 to 10. I have people that care about me. And then the last one is 0 to 10. I feel good about me. Now, I just want you guys to have that, and we will revisit it a little bit. And you can ask, we can have some conversation about it closer to the end. So I just want you to have that and be able to think about that. Anybody have any question? Like right now, I just need to ask a question regarding to that little check-in assessment. Yes. I didn't have a pen when you started. Oh. No, no, no. Just two columns. 1 through 4, 1 through 4. Okay. And it didn't have to be two columns. The question, sure. The first one is, how are you doing? The second one was, now I'm going to forget. How are things with your family? School, work, and overall. Those are the first 4. The second 4 are how I have what I need. I feel safe. I have people that care about me, and I feel good about me. We good? All right. Come on, Mr. Clicker. Click on. All right. So y'all know when you change, when you move stuff around, when you open it up somewhere else, like I don't know what's happening right there. But so this is basically our for our plan for today. We're gonna share some information. I'm gonna do some tie-ins of the information, and then we're gonna look at this. This is funny. We're gonna learn some strategies. See, if I was really anxious, this would throw me off right here. Like what? Then we're gonna learn some strategies for how you again, so you can have that toolbox and some things for you to do. Go ahead. All right, so anxiety. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you several different um, definitions of anxiety, and then we're going to tie them in, and then we're going to talk about because the whole thing is anxiety. Is the focus is anxiety, right? But to get to the truth of anxiety, we got to look at stress and we got to look at fear because they play a role. So y'all facing that? Somebody read that for me who's not chewing. Look, because somebody. And then I said, somebody read that. So somebody read that for me, real quick.
English language learner's definition of anxiety. A feeling of wanting to do something very much. Fear or nervousness about what might happen.
Go on. Somebody next.
Medical definition of anxiety: apprehensive, uneasiness, or nervousness, usually over an impending or anticipated ill. I'm assuming it's illness.
Oh, should be. Well, no, it says ill.
Ill.
Mm-hmm.
Then mentally distressing, concern, or interest.
Advance twice for me. All right. And then this is the definition from one of the medical journals. Somebody read that for me.
An abnormal or overwhelming sense of apprehension and fear, often marked by physical signs such as tension, sweating, and increased pulse rate, by doubt concerning the reality and nature of the threat, and by self-doubt about one's capacity to cope with.
All right. Advance. All right. So, where does anxiety come from? Can it begin with fear? So, yes or no? So does that mean fear is bad? You sure? I don't know. Go ahead. All right. So I was able to attend. I was part of a panel, like I said, when I put this together. I was part of a panel with this young lady, Miss Candace Cox. She has an organization called Chaos, and she talked about stress, trauma, and toxic stress. So you know how they say, quote your citations, give people credit. Here's Candace's credit right here. All right. And so stress happens to everybody, right? We all have stress. Stress can be good. It can be bad. Somebody tell me a good stress.
Working out.
That's good, but why is working out stressful? Well, no, okay. But what's another good stress? What's the main stress we all want to have? Who said it? Did Biggie say it? Who said more money, more problems? Who said it? More money is wonderful, but it is stressful to have more money. The more money you have, the more situations you find yourself, right? Um, Let me see. One of the things I want you to really look at is again, we're back to the psychological, the physiological responses. When you have stress, your body responds to the stress. A lot of times we'll have stress and we will be unaware of it because we're going and going and going. Um, and so the stress is happening in your body, but you're not paying attention to it because why? You got to do the thing because you got to get the more money, right? You got to get to the gym and get the exercise going. So it's necessary to pay attention to the physiological stress. Then the behavioral stresses. She talked about fight or flight or freeze, and focusing on is there a threat and how to deal with it. And sometimes when you get in a space where there's stress, fight, flight, and freeze get all tangled up, right? And when this becomes a problem, and you possibly need to see somebody like me, is when you fighting when you should be flighting, or when you freeze and when you should be fighting to flee, right? So you got to know, right? But you got to be able to pay attention. So that's why I started with the check-in, because if you can check in with yourself on a regular basis, you can really be good. Where we get into a problem is when we let it sneak up on us. And then next thing we know, we ain't had on no makeup, we ain't been to no hair salon, we ain't looked on ourselves, we walking around this disheveled. It's not too late, but you in a space then, right? Let's get there when the first button get unbuttoned and get together. Go on. So I talked about that, right? Fight, flight, freeze, and them little moved around things is really getting me. I'm glad I got this right here. Um, so fear is the thing that wants you to do something, and most people see it as a bad thing. So you're right; it's not necessarily a bad thing. Fear can save a life. I can share with you. I was carjacked some years ago, and when I drove up to the place where it was happening, everything in my body went off. Like everything went off. Like, this don't feel good. Something's going on. And so I saw two gentlemen walking up the street. And so, normally, we pull up, we get out, we look around, we get out and go on our way. But those bells was just ringing, like just really, really going. But the gentleman came, and I just watched them come and let them go past me. So then I started to get out the car. But again, was that alarm system going off? And so before I got out, I looked in my rearview mirror to see where they were. I looked in the rearview, then I looked in the side mirror. And that little joker was coming around the side of the car. He was waiting for me to open the door. But I saw him, and I slammed the door back shut. Fear helped me, right? It gave me some time, because once I shut that door, he was kind of like, dang, And so now we like, you gonna keep, I'm like, you gonna let me go? You ain't can't get in. But by this time I had taken the key out the car, right? And so I'm looking at him, he looking at me, and I'm like, I'm in here, you out there. So then he pulls the gun out, but he didn't point it at me. He just kind of tapped on the window and held it in his hand. And I'm like, he like, ma'am. I'm like, because really what I'm thinking is, I got stuff to do. I don't have time for this. So I'm like, okay. Because I couldn't get that key back in that ignition. Because I got that key back in it. But no, so I get out the car, and he says to me, ma'am. And so I'm like, give me the keys. Because y'all really was trying not to give him my keys. And so I give him my keys, and I just stand there. Fight, flight, or freeze. So I just stand there. He gets in the car. He's trying to wave his homeboy to get in. And I'm standing there looking at homeboy like, you don't want this car. And so he say, ma'am, run away or something. Oh, okay. Please don't hurt. So here's the crazy part, right? I was not afraid. For real. Like in that moment, nothing about my reaction said fear. My internal part said fear, but everything I was giving him did not say fear. I literally had to force myself to behave in a fretful manner. And so I was like, oh, okay, don't hurt me. Wait, can I have my keys so when I get home? So I reached into this little compartment in my car and got my wallet out and left. Now he crazy, right? Because if I had a gun, I could have got it. But either way, again, fear helped me because I was afraid, but I was thinking. I stood. That's where I kind of got a little stuck. But then I came back to myself. So anyway, that's that story. So again, it can be good, it can be bad. Go on. All right, stress. Is anxiety from stress? Is it fear? Is it stress? So let's go back and look at stress. So there's positive stress, there's tolerable stress, and there's toxic stress and traumatic stress. Think of a tolerable stress. Every time I do this, I love to hear what people have to say about tolerable stress. We already know positive stress is money, right? We're going to keep that with money and exercise. Anything else y'all can think of that's a positive stress? Girl, that's the tolerable stress, right? What's the positive stress? Kids can be positive. You right. You right. I should say. But when anybody think of another positive stress? Relationships. All right. But let's go over to the tolerable stress. Kids is where I think about the tolerable stress. Yeah. You got to feed them every day, right? And when they ain't at school, you got to feed them all day and run them out the refrigerator because they eat for sport, right? But that's a tolerable stress. You know, we got to feed the little people because we want them to grow the big people, so we feed them. So there's all kinds of things that are tolerable stresses. Well, honey, have somebody feed them. You ain't got to feed them. But go on. Let's see what Miss McGee had to say. So see, giving her credit right here, Tracy Berry McGee. Don't y'all go nowhere and tell her I had her information and didn't give her credit. But what she talks about is those positive, tolerable, and toxic traumatic stress levels. If you could go back and think, can you go back to the 2 slides, I think, or wherever Candace is? Go one more. I'm sorry, go one more. Okay, I lied. Go one more. Where is Candace? You skipped her. Oh, okay, go back. There she is. So if you look at it again, stress, traumatic, or toxic stress. They really kind of related, right? Okay, go back to where we were. So what Tracy talks about is that you got to observe your nonverbals, right? You got to pay attention. You got to observe your nonverbals and pay attention to your situations at home, at work, and things that are happening, right? Because sometimes you go into work and it's like, hey, and then other times, if they talk to me, it's good. You know, that is something you need to pay attention to. You need to pay attention to when you got out of bed that morning. Did you get ready for work like going to this job that the good Lord blessed me with? Or did you get, thank you, Lord, for the job. I'm going again today. You know, where you at? You know, you got to pay attention to it. It's important. She said, observe how much you're in the social media or Facebook. You know, a lot of times we get with Facebook and social media because we want to say stuff and we want to see stuff. But I'm telling you, like in COVID, we shut so many people down out of Facebook and all those social medias because that was causing the most problems because all of the information. Stop watching the news, you know. And God forbid when we talk about how they shoot the black people here, there, and everywhere. I'm 100% in support of my people, but every now and then I gotta not watch it because it gets to be too much for me. I can share with you once I had a kid. Actually, it wasn't even my kid in treatment. I had a student that I was working with who I had them doing an assignment, and they had a kid they were doing this assignment with. And during the assignment, they found out that the kid was walking around with sharp objects in his pocket, ready to stab people. This was after 911. He has been traumatically affected from the information. That kid ain't been in no terrorist attack, right? But his people sitting up looking at the news all day. So you got to pay attention to how much of that you're doing because you're filtering in traumatic incidences. That's one part of it. The other part of it is, are you doing it because you're trying to escape? Is it because I need to check out of my life, so let me check into somebody else's? And sometimes we do that. Maybe it could be helpful, but the other side of that is it evokes you to be in a space of starting to compare yourself, which then turns to what? A toxic stress. Her last point was observe how your body feels, what you do with your body, how you eat, how you drink, how often do you exercise. You know, we talked about the exercise being a good stress or positive stress, but a stress nonetheless. But it's necessary, right? I learned in a course or something once before that there's only one thing that recovers your body at a cellular level. Only one thing. It's not food, it's not medicine, it's not surgery. It's nothing else can recover your body at a cellular level but exercise. Talk about a good stress, right? You gotta do it. I don't care what that is. You gotta walk, you gotta stretch, you gotta do yoga. um, hip hop aerobics, Zumba, I don't know, skating, whatever the things is, whatever makes your heart go, you got to find it to do because there's a lot that happens in our society, and so we got to be responsible for helping ourselves be okay, and so we got to try to recover, and stay okay, right? All right, bye, Tracy. Okay, so fear plus stress because you can't really have one without the other, quite honestly. Go ahead. If you don't manage it, you get this craziness. Now, in the original version of this presentation, this does some really cool, crazy stuff, right? That kind of makes you feel, kind of how you feel when you're in the midst of uncertainty and anxiety and what have you. But you have to manage it. We're not ever gonna live a life without fear. We're not ever gonna live a life without stress. So you gotta manage it. And if you manage it, you'll be okay. But it only turns into anxiety when it goes unmanaged. Go ahead, advance. All right. I think you should advance twice. So let's talk about how we get there. What do we do? So we've already talked about some of these things. Um, Paying attention to your body, paying attention to what you're interacting with, paying attention to how you're behaving, paying attention to just the signs and symptoms of life that are going on. You're going to pay attention to that. So these are some things that we're going to talk a little bit more about, but these are just the introductions of your toolbox. We're going to start to build your toolbox. So the first one is, I got to try to look over there. The first one is take a good, honest look at how long it's been since your decisions have been based in common/good sense. Because sometimes you make decisions because you think you're making good decisions, right? And then you look back and go, what was I thinking? Who let me do that? And why did I think that was a good idea? And then sometimes you make decisions and you look back and you go, well, when did I do that? Right? You were probably having a situation but didn't recognize it. But when you stop and you look back, you can say, okay, let me check, let me get myself together, right? And that's an easy way to check. That's an easy way to check. Just think back on this week. How did I do this week with the things that I did? Did I make good decisions? When my supervisors told me to do X, Y, and Z, telling her no, was that a good choice? And my evaluation is next week. That was not a good choice. You're not okay, honey, right? All right. So number 2, conduct a life census. A census. So the census comes out every so often. How often do they do census? Anybody know? 10. Wow. Okay. Um. So you got to look and see at your life. Who are the people? Take a census of who are the people that are connected to you and who are you connected to. Who is in your life? Who are the people surrounding you? Who do you allow to have access to you? Who are you accessing? Some folks you got to love from a distance, and maybe this hand ain't long enough. You got to, move a little further. But you got to pay attention to that. You got to take some time and look at that. The next one is create a CRT before a crisis hits. That is my favorite, and I thought I was a genius when I created that, right? So, anybody else in here a social worker or work in a social work related field other than First Lady and me? So, in our lives, we've dealt with CRT teams, and they're typically called crisis response teams. But what I want you to develop is a caring response team. Because you need to have people in your life who care for you. Who are the people that care for you? Who are the people in your job that care for you? Who are the people in your church that care for you? Who are the people in your house that care for you? Who are your friends that care for you? We use that term friend very loosely sometimes. Lisa and I have known each other for 30 plus years or whatever. Right. Oh, for real. And we don't talk every day at all. We don't talk every day. We might not even talk this year. But if I need something or she needs something, it's not even gonna be it's not even gonna be a thought. And that means anything. Anything. There's no hand, it's anything. So who are those people? And then you need those people who you might need them to be around every day. The people that you have frequent contact and frequent. I play volleyball on Fridays at Flow Valley. We only have the season when the school is in session. So we don't do it in the summertime because Flow Valley, oh, they don't have no air in that gym. We would die. So, but I have a group of ladies who are at that volleyball that during when volleyball is in, we go to volleyball and play for 3 hours, and then we get in the cars on the way home and talk for 2 more hours after that. And then when volleyball is over, it's like they disappeared. We never talk. We don't talk. And then we talk the whole time about getting together, spending time. Never happens until volleyball comes again. And then it's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. But you know what I'm saying? So you got to assess your life for those spaces and those people so that you can have that CRT in place. You need somebody who's caring for you. I'm a support person and a caregiver. And so I'm typically the person who's giving out most of my life. That's what I do. I'm clear about that's who I am in the earth. But I guarantee you that I have people who take care of me. I have people who, when I need to go sit down or I need to be pampered or I need to be whatever, I go and I sit with them. I get with those people. I go places with people who I go on vacation with folks who I know are the most ridiculous people on the earth. And so that the whole time, like my grandmother died, and I was like, I just need to laugh till I pee a little. That's what I need in my life. And so I got with those people. And but it was great, right? But that's what I needed. And so you got to know what you need. I'm back to being aware of what you need, being aware of who you are, being aware of where you are. So you got to know what you need so that you know how to go get it and what to go get. Let's see. And then the last one is check in with your 5 senses to help you identify your physical and emotional well-being. All right. So here is another little space of a quick little toolkit. And of course, somebody gonna take a bite. Somebody always take a bite right before I get ready to say, you're fine. It's okay. I'm still gonna make you do something, but you can do it. You can do it into that little bite you took. So, in the middle of some stress, or if you find yourself in an area where things are kind of out of control, or you just need to focus yourself really quickly, here's a thing that I like to do. Take both of your hands and hold them up. Now I want you to put one of them down. Put one of them down. So take that one hand, and I want you to put one of your fingers on each one of your senses. So your senses are taste, smell, hearing, seeing. What's the fifth one? Touch. So engage your senses with one hand at one time on your face. You can. All at the same time. Not one at a time. All at the same time. Now, tell me this. Can you worry about what you cooking and all of that while you do that? Can't. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the issue is. I don't care what the problem is. Stop for a minute and do that. You can't. You can't continue to worry or be in a place of frantic trying to do this. You just can't do it. And so I found that to be a quick, okay, let's break. Let's check these senses. So that's one way to use that. The other way to do it is, so flip your page. I'm going to give you the second part of this check your senses toolkit. Advance first, because I think I just got ahead of myself. Do me an advance for me. We talked about reflecting. So we're going to reflect. We're going to release, and we're going to move forward. All right. So these are the things that I'm going to show you how to do in these little activities for your toolkit that we're going to do. So I'll go ahead. So I already showed you one. One was the five senses check in. The next one I want to show you is we'll do a little journal activity because we want to use that same five check your senses. So write down the five senses on that piece of paper. Taste, touch, smell, hearing, vision. Now, once you get them written down, write five things today that happened today that fall under that category. Five things you saw, five things you tasted, five things you smelled, five things, five things, five for five. Not beta. Pause it for me for a second. If you're finished, the second part of that, I want you to look at those things that you wrote down, and I want you to kind of just ask yourself, did you focus on, because we know you did more than 5, right? Even though you wrote down 5, you did more than 5 during the week or during today. But did you focus on the things that felt good, the things that weren't so good, the things that either, were problematic in a negative space or positive space? So just re-look at your list and just ask yourself, what things stood out for you? Go ahead. Get a trash. All right, you can stop it. So that is just an example of journaling that you could do that just involves your senses. Now you can write it down, or you can, do it. I tell people that, we got. Where are you going without this? Where are you going without it? And then when you leave it, what you doing? You going back to get it, right? There's lovely note pages inside of this phone of yours. It's actually a computer that operates like a phone, right? So there's pages in here that you can just easily make journal pages. So you don't have to write it. You can put it in your phone. You can do, have options to yourself. Don't make it a harder thing to do or be an excuse to why you didn't do it. Oh, I didn't have my book. I left the book we got from the church. I left it in the car, sisters. You know, don't make that the excuse. Just be able to do it. We talked about journaling. We talked about stopping, because remember I said when you want to interrupt, you want to stop. You're gonna do your five cents check in that way. Um, so we talked about checking in. So breathing. So here is a reality about when you're in anxiety or when you're in stress or when you are having fear. People tend to stop breathing. So sometimes you just have to stop and watch your chest rise and fall. Is it rising and falling quickly? Is it rhythmically? Is it a steady rise and a steady fall? Is it short? Because that could also mean there's a health issue at play as well. Remember, I said this starts back with knowing yourself and being aware of where you are and what's going on for you. But that is a very easy one that people miss. Paying attention to how they breathe and what's happening in their breathing. Um, so that's the reflection. I think, like I said, that's the start point. You got to look at what's happening with you. I think let's go to. Let me see. Let me go ahead a little bit and see. All right. Yeah. Let's go about 4. It just says, but how? How are we gonna get there? We've already started getting there because I wanted to make sure you guys got to get there. All right. So we're gonna talk about some breathing techniques. My favorite all-time breathing video is the most cheesiest video you ever seen in your whole life, right? Most cheesiest ever. You're never ever gonna see another cheesy one. I'm gonna show you this one today though, because it's so cheesy, but it so works. I work a lot with kids. I work with adults as well, but I work a lot with kids, and what I found is adults respond just as well to the kids stuff because usually the person who's having the trouble is the kid on the inside of the adult, right? And when you are in a troubled space, what do you start to act like? Oh, yeah. So that's what I found over these 30 years, Lord Jesus. Uh, is that, we respond to the kid things. So go to the third video, I believe. Again, it is the most cheesiest thing you're ever going to see. Here it is. See how cheesy it sounds already? All right. So I'm going to let you listen to it, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
All right, class. Let me ask you something. When you're nervous or afraid, what is your breathing like?
I guess I breathe faster.
Yeah, me too. You, right. You tend to take short, quick, shallow breaths that make you feel worse. Well, today I'm going to teach you how to take long, slow, deep breaths that will help you calm down when you feel nervous or afraid. And if you practice this breathing exercise regularly, you'll be able to train your will to be calmer. Oh, I like the sound of that. This is called 4-7-8 breathing. So you want to start out by sitting straight up like this. Now, a lot of times when we breathe in from our chest, up here. But today we're going to breathe from a lot lower, from our diaphragm. What? Your diaphragm is
Isn't that cheesy? How cheesy is that?
Think of it as a balloon underneath your ribcage. First, you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Take a long, deep breath, like you're filling up that balloon in your stomach. Then we're going to hold it for 7 seconds. And finally, we're going to slowly exhale through our mouths for 8 seconds. Pretend like there's a tiny hole in the balloon, and all the air is escaping from your mouth. Ready to try it all together now?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, wait, no. Let me take a deep breath first. Okay. Pretty. Great. Everyone sit straight up. You can follow along with us if you like. Now, take a deep breath through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now hold that breath for 7 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excellent. Now slowly release that breath. 8 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good job, guys.
I have a question. What if I can't hold my breath for 7 seconds?
It's okay. It just takes a little practice. Do what you can for now. Let's try it one more time. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. Now slowly breathe out for 8 seconds. Great job, class. You should practice this breathing exercise every day for about 5 to 10 minutes. Eventually, you will become calmer and make Wiggle stop throwing tantrums every time you're anxious or afraid. Yeah, this is going to work a lot better than hiding under the covers.
Okay, pause it. All right. So I know 8 seconds. Who can do it? You can work up to it, and you can work up to the 7 as well. Um, and so this is just one of those breathing techniques and it really does work. If you have kids, They love this cheesy video, right? But it also is something for them to learn. And so, kids will come losing their mind about whatever's going on. You can say, hey, wait a minute. Relax. Let's breathe through it. Help them calm down. Now let's have a conversation. Instead, usually we just go loud. Hey, shut up! Well, now you just invited yourself into the chaos. And so instead of doing that, let's go the other direction, right? And let's pull them down and pull them in. But then also, again, it works for you. So do we want to practice this here or do we not want to practice this here? I see yes head nod. You feel So let me say a couple of things with this. And so again, you can work up to it. One. Two, you want to practice when you're not in a space, right? So he said you should practice it, 5 or 10. Now that's a lot, right? You don't have to do it that long. I will have to disclose that I cannot do breathing. I have clients when they come, I can't do breathing exercises with them anymore because when I was in college, I had like 30 minutes that I had to get from class to work. So I trained myself to go to sleep really quickly by breathing. And so now, literally, if I do it, I'm on my way to sleep. It's the most ridiculous thing. I mean, it's cool, but I'm just like, I can't help you. I can do the video, but I can't engage. I can't do the counting, though. So I just want you to know that's why I'm not doing it, because then the rest of the day, we're going to be in trouble. But it's easy to do, and if you can't hold it the whole time, then you just work up to it. The other thing, though, to pay attention to, if you cannot do it, guess what you might need to do? A little exercise, exactly. A little exercise to build your lung capacity and build your breathing capacity. And that could also be a sign of, again, a health marker. How are you doing health wise? How are you? Because breathing is important, right? I have asthma. And so some days I get real tired and I just like, dang, it's really hard to be in this day. What's going on? Then I have to stop and be like, girl, you can't breathe. Go get your inhaler. But because I don't have trouble often, I forget that I have asthma until I'm just like, oh, I'm breaking down. I usually can walk up 3 steps. What's happening? So I was like, get that inhaler, and I'm like, go, yeah. So, again, this is all about paying attention to you, what's going on for you, and where you are, right? So let's see if we can practice. So we're doing 4, 7, 8. 4 in, right? Is that right? Did I say it wrong? All right. 4 in. We're going to hold for 7. And then we're going to blow out for 8. Now, here's the blowout part. Blow out slow. Don't go and then try to keep blowing. Blow it out real slow and try to take in as much as you can at the 4. So sit up straight as you can, feet on the floor. Usually how you get your best breathing. All right. Again, I'm not going to do this with you because I'm going to go to sleep. But let's go with 4. Ready? Go. I'm going to count. Go. In. Hold. Blow out. Did y'all make it? And I did it fast, so that's why y'all made it, because I was cheating a little bit. But if you do it with him, it'll go fast. It'll go slower, and so just practice that. Because where you want to get yourself, you want to find yourself in a space of when your inside starts to be on a feeling a thing and doing a certain thing. You want your body and your mind to go over there to what you need by itself. Like you want to find yourself doing that and not even realize. You know how when you're driving and you on your way to your grandmama's house and you supposed to be at the church? Why am I? Let me turn around. You want your body to do the same thing with these techniques. You want your body to go into what it needs when it needs it without you having to command it because you've trained it to do so. All right? And so that's one. The other one I'm going to share with you is the 717. I think it's a great one. Well, no, five. Let's do 535. So here's the things of 535. This is actually one I learned in a yoga class. You take your right hand. You take it is index, yeah, index finger and your thumb. You place it up to your face on the side of your nose. Now what you're going to do is you're going to alternate. The thumb is going to close the nostril on the right. The index finger is going to close the nostril on the left, right? And so very slowly, so go back to your L. So very slowly you're going to don't do it yet, I'm just going to walk you through it. You're going to do a close the nostril on the left and inhale through on the right. Inhale through the left for a 5 count. And then you're going to hold it for 1. And then you're going to switch and blow it out on the right for 5. So you're only inhaling on the left, hold, blow out on the right for 5. So you just got to switch. It's y'all's nose, so if you stick your finger up there, just get your piece of tissue. It's okay. It's fine. All right. So you ready? Thumb close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Switch. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. So that's a simple one, right? And that's one that you can do really quickly. Again, if you need to just kind of stop and like if you feel tense or you just need to calm down, that exhale and that inhale and exhale sequence is actually a autonomic response for the body to calm down the brain. So that's the research behind it, that it's supposed to go immediately to calming down. And then the 717 is the same kind of deal. You inhale for 7, you hold, you exhale for 7, right? So these again are just, you figure out what's your sweet spot, right? Which one works best for you. Some may work at one point and the others may work at another point. So that's why I like to give options, right? Because no one thing works for everybody at the same time all the time. There is no never and there is no always. It doesn't exist. All right, let's begin. We did the reflections. So we talked about exercise, and I've already shared with you that movement, exercise is your best form of cellular recovery from stress, anxiety, or anything that's going to affect you physically or mentally. Physical exercise. Now, that doesn't mean if the doctor say take the medicine, don't take the medicine because Miss Tanya said. No, that don't mean that. But that just is another way again. Exercise is going to get you to recovery at a cellular level. That's the only way it's going to do it. I did have a song for that one, but we don't have to worry about it. It was just Queen Bey. I wish I had a ticket to give away. A drawing for a ticket. I don't have it. Sorry. But here's the last one we're going to do. Go to a clean sheet. Let's go to the next activity. This is probably the biggest one we'll do, or probably the longest one we'll do. All right. So with this one, I want you to draw take your pencil or ink pen, or if you have a black Crayola, you got these special Crayola, you want to have a black, and draw your best gingerbread man, whatever, gingerbread woman, whatever y'all want to draw, but give it space. Don't make it stick. Give it space. Give it space. So make a circle. Y'all know how a gingerbread person look. Draw the gingerbread person. And I could have brought cutouts knowing we were going to be a small group. See how the engineer over here doing the perfect. Let me see yours, Maury. Can I use it as an example?
It's missing a leg.
That's okay. She didn't do the leg yet, but this is the kind of space I want. Yeah, that's good too. I want you to give it space because we're going to do something on it. So you want to give it space. All right. Now at the bottom, I want you to write afraid, sad. At the bottom of the paper, write afraid, sad, nervous, angry. Oh yeah, you got good space on yours. Um, guilty, afraid, sad. What did I say? Somebody tell me back what I said already. Jealous. Is that 6? And happy. Now I want you to take one of each of your colors and I want you to color the word or outline the word that you just wrote in one color per word. The last 3? I don't know. Let me see what you got. Nervous. Jealous. It don't make no difference. How many is that?
5.
5. So I know the last one is happy. Angry. You're missing angry. So take one Crayola, one color per word. You can draw a box around the word. You can however you want to do it so that each word is represented by a color.
How many words were there?
7.
What words again?
The words are afraid, sad, nervous, angry, guilty, jealous, and happy. All right, y'all good with that? Now, only thing you're going to do here is you are going to, for each one of those feelings that you wrote down, you're going to think about 5 things that make you feel that way. You can write them down if you feel like you need to, or you cannot. So just take some time and look at those feelings and think about 5 things for each one that make you feel that way. Why am I sticking with 5? Because 5 is the reminder to check your senses. You can do it however you want. You don't have to write them down. I just want you to be aware of them. Be aware of the things that you think of when you think of that feeling. We good? We ready to move forward? All right. Now that you've thought about those things, I want you to take that color that matches that feeling, and I want you to choose the part of your body that typically shows that feeling or where you feel that feeling. I'll give you all a little cheat. Where do most people when they're jealous? Where do they feel it? What'd you say? Some people feel it in their heart, and some people feel it in their hands because they usually want what somebody else has.
You see, I said this, but
So that's what you want to do. So whatever, wherever you feel that thing, wherever you feel that feeling, I want you to color it or draw whatever. You can draw something. You can write the word. You can do it however you want because it's yours. But wherever you feel, wherever on your body you find yourself feeling that feeling, when you get in that space, you feel that feeling, you can denote it on there.
if you feel the same feeling in the same space sometimes, that okay?
Put it in the same. It's your. Who gonna tell you it's not?
That's right. That's why I need to black.
You feel what you feel. You need some Crayola? We got plenty. Clicker guy, go ahead and play the other one. Hmm. All right. Y'all done yet? Not yet? Finish playing my other one. Did you play it out? Or you got rid of it? You got rid of it probably. Let her do her own. Don't do that.
What I'm supposed to do? I'm always the
Well, it's how you want, however it is, put it on your paper.
same. Where do you feel these emotions in your body? Oh, well, I don't got them. Oh, you so right. I got this right here. There you go. I was there today. Did she make it? Or did I see him cook?
All right, y'all finished? Okay. So, I heard lots of conversation while you were doing this. And so you said, what if I feel them all in the same place? So guess what? Where did you feel the most at? Where in your body though? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to.
It's not appropriate.
No, I mean, but you don't have to share if you don't want. If you don't want to share, you can always
sure.
pass.
It's just like in my arms and legs and like chest, just like the bottom half of my head down. So like anger, sadness, that's nervousness, like right now.
So are you a person who tends to move a lot? You're very fidgety. You, no, you should just pay attention to that. When you find yourself being very, kind of maybe feeling all over the place or not, calm or whatever, you should stop and check in. What's going on with me? Why am I doing all this? What's happening? Why can't I calm down? Get it? Anybody got it? You don't have to say yes or no. But some people have it all in their head. Like I'll do this with some people and they'll have it all the colors is in their head. And those are the people who have migraines, who always just seem to feel confused. I can't really think a lot. Because they got everything just right here. It's all stuck right in this space. Somebody say, I don't have no feelings. I don't feel nothing. That's the problem. We got a whole bunch of feelings. It's a whole plethora of feelings. It's a whole lot of feelings the Lord gave, right? For reasons for to express, to feel, for you to live. You can't live life fully without your feelings. If you're unable to feel, and sometimes we have to shut down our feelings because some things are just too much. I told you with COVID, I was like, hey, not yet. I ain't ready. So sometimes you have to shut down your feelings because things are too much. But you can't stay in that space because then they will break you or you'll break. So we get how to use this. So every now and then, when you just got some free time and you need to just check in with you, this is a nice little thing to do. You can do it really quickly. You keep your little glittery coloring crayons. You can do you can glitter while you do it or however you want to do it. But it's good information for you to have. It's good for you to know. And then I've already given you some things of how to address it. Breathing through it, journaling through it. Go ahead and advance. Let's see where we go. Because I think we've done all the things. I just want to make sure. So remember we said that the final part was to be able to move forward, right? And so we did some journaling. Do what you got to do to get that stuff out of you, to sort through it so that you can move forward. It is doable. But if you don't get it out, first of all, if you don't recognize it or identify it, and then you don't get it out, I don't care what you do, you're going to be stuck. And as soon as it gets too much, who are you going to start acting like? The little kids. You're going to go right back. That's what we all do. Whenever we get in a space where we can't move forward, we go back. Who got time for going back? Y'all got time for going back? I don't have time for going back. So, let's see. Did I miss anything? I think we did them all. We did the breathings. We did them all. So you want to move forward. You want to connect. One of the other things, the reason why I chose this song, I talked about looking at when you create your care and response team. You got to have people on that team who you're willing to take criticism from. You've got to have people on that team who are going to admonish you and give you praise and give you, the things that you need too. But they got to be people that you can take critique and criticism from. You got to trust them in that kind of way to know that they love you enough to tell you what is good or not good for you. The other thing is the song that I chose it because I connect strongly to Harriet Tubman. Strongly. It's scary to me sometimes. But everything that I do in my practice and how I live my life is about how can I get the next person to their next space. And so I've recognized that. So it's not just who you connect to physically and in this present life, but who in your family maybe have passed on or in our history that you connect to. Those connections matter as well. You can pull strength from those connections. Someone told me, I told you all when my grandmother passed, it was a really big deal for me. And one of my friends sent me this message that said, you know, trees build their strength from their roots. And so that was just beautiful for me right there to just sit in that thought and think about my grandmother is a root of my family. And now she's returned to the dust in the ground to feed the root. So that helped me get through that day. So you got to think about those connections and think about those things. Um, so yeah, I think we did all those things. Let's see. Um, and I just said the free writing. If you want to do free writing, you just want to write in journal just to kind of do some expression. Pinterest is full of. They got 18,000 little clipboards that you can save and like and do all of that with the exercises on it. If your brain won't allow you, Pinterest got 1,000 of them for you. We did a touch, smell. Go on. We talked about the senses. Keep going. You want to always think about, your sense. How long has it been since I've made good, common decisions? Take your senses of your people in your space. And then you want to always check in with your physical self, with your mental self, with your senses. Where are you? And what's surrounding you? What are you feeding you? What's feeding you? What are you giving out to? What are you feeding? Go on. Let's see. I think we are done. So, important, you got to name it. That's why you got that little paper there so that you can name what's happening because you got to name it to tame it. You got to feel it. Sometimes we don't want to deal with our feelings and our emotions, but you got to feel it if you want to heal it. I'm really big on, I get in trouble with a lot of church people who don't want the kids to get a diagnosis, and then the black people. Don't put that label on that baby. Well, how you going to ask God to heal it? If you don't get a name for it, how you really going to ask God to heal it? You don't, Lord, just help Ray Ray. Okay, and he can't do that, right? But can we just call a thing and ask him for what we want him to do? Because I trust him like that I can take my thing, exactly what it is, to him and get it done. Now, while I was in my COVID crisis, I carried myself right on to therapy, but I was praying the whole time and talking to God about what was the thing and how I was feeling and help me with this. Because I knew exactly what it was. After I talked to my therapist, I was like, okay, so I mean, COVID is COVID, but what? She helped me get down to those things. And once I could get a name and a label for it, okay, now I can work on it. So go on more. I think that's it. Oh, lastly, do the things that give you joy. If you can't feel joy or happiness, help yourself get over there where you can feel it. You gotta have some joy. Happiness really comes from the outside, but joy is on the inside. Joy is what allows you to move through anxiety, uncertainty, not happy, mad, angry, disappointment. Joy will allow you to build hope. And as long as you can have hope, if you can just have a little bit of hope, you'll be okay. But find yourself some joy and find out what makes you have joy. Go on. So you can be free, right? Free is good. Beyonce just said so with her $7,000 tickets. Go on. I'm done. Thank you. All right. Any questions? Any comments? What you need? Anything? We can double back. So I told you with that initial check-in assessment that we did with that 0 to 10, basically what that is built off of, there's a theorist that says in that last, you have what you need, you feel safe, you have people that care for you, you feel good about you. There's a theorist that says that if you can achieve in all of those areas, then you can be okay. And so pay attention to those areas in your life. If they're at a deficit or they're ever at a low, do things to get them built up because that's how you take care of you. But any questions? Yep.
So, what do you tell people who thrive off of like a last minute type of spirit, like that idea of I'm not able to be productive until I feel that stress and anxiety that propels me to get things done. What is that? You know, versus somebody who's doing it methodically through time without any of that pressure to get it done.
Here's my question: does it cause problems?
From a blood pressure perspective.
So then that's problematic if it's affecting your blood pressure. So then if it causes problems, then you have to strategize to take it piece by piece. And so you then have to create little deadlines for yourself. So if your real deadline is here, then you have to create a deadline for yourself here so that you force yourself to go ahead and get it started on. And then you have to break it up into start, critique. You know how they taught you to write a paper when you was a kid, when school? You kind of got to do life that way as well sometimes when you have tasks that you have to do. That can be helpful. That's just one thing. Anybody else? Anybody else? Bueller? Bueller? No? Everybody looking at y'all. Do y'all got something to say? Everybody want like what they talking about?
I'm gonna watch it again. I was at work, my bad.
Well, it was my pleasure, and thank you very much.
Thank you.